Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bodhasara class. And concluding this section, two more verses are there. This section on, I forget what it was called, let us look back and see. The subsection on atonement and the section on oblations. Yeah. So then this is, so last time we saw ahamta and mamata are the two ahutis, two offerings to be given. The I-ness is one offering and my-ness is one offering. Actually in the reverse order, first the my-ness is gone and then the I-ness is gone. And so we saw how it is not about, we also saw how it's not a matter of trying to remove the ego or get rid of the ego. And so that's not the point, because even without the ego there is no broadcasting of one's ignorance, and without the ego there is no point in trying to rectify the ignorance either. Without ego one is as good as without the I notion, one is as good as being in a permanently vegetative state. And so therefore this is not about getting rid of the ego. And so what is this about? This is about lightening the ego of the burden that it is the be all and end all of this body mind sense complex. It is lightening that burden and being one with everything. And so and that means first giving up the notion that one is the agent of action and that one is the producer of the results of action. So that is why the ahanta, so the I-ness is given up as the agent or as the recipient of the results of action. And then also the my-ness, this sense of possession, is given up. This much we have seen. Then verse 14 and 15 conclude this. Let us look at 14. Hute chedahuti ete, hute chedahuti ete, sarvametadhutam bhavet, sarvametadhutam bhavet, shraddha patni sametanam, mumuksha gruhavasinam, shraddha patni sametanam, mumuksha gruhavasinam. So, hute chet, if this is accomplished, when this is accomplished, what? Ahuti ete. When these two, what is that called? Offerings are accomplished. What are the two offerings? I-ness, my-ness. Both of them are taken care of. Then what happens? then sarvam etad hutam bhavet. Meaning everything that needs to be offered is already offered. Nothing more is left to be done. This is the ultimate. The giving up of one's agency is moksha. The total abdication of oneself as karta is moksha. Kartritva hani is moksha. Moksha means I no longer see myself as the producer of things, as the agent of anything, especially action or results of action, that loop and that connection, that false connection, that difficult and this mithya connection, very difficult to get rid of, between the actor and the results of action, between action and the results of action, and between oneself and as the enjoyer of the results of action. All these identifications are given up in this ahuti, and then when that happens, then there is nothing more left to offer. Yena tyajasi tat tyaja. Pujya Swamiji would always quote this. And what does it mean? That by which you offer, when you give that up, then there is nothing more left to offer. That meaning that ahamta, that I am the offerer, that notion is given up. And how to give this up? That's why we have steps. We don't expect people to suddenly, to sleep as a samsari and wake up as a jnani. We don't expect that to happen, because Atma Jnanam is not like a miracle that happens when you sleep. It just operates upon you and something happens. No, that's why there are stages and steps, and we have been seeing this all throughout the Bodhasara. So the first step is to say Naham Karta. So if I am not the Karta, then somebody is doing something. Who is this? Then we bring in Ishvara. Recognition of Ishvara as the creator, sustainer, resolver of the universe, which Pujya Swamiji always said, bringing Ishvara into one's life. That is the next step. What do you mean bringing Ishvara, bringing into one's life? Meaning Ishvara is not in your life, or what? You're bringing him from a shop or her from a shop? No. Bringing means in one's awareness. In one's awareness, one is now aware that one is not the producer of actions nor of the results thereof. One is aware that there are forces greater than oneself in the form of all the devatas, starting with those celestials because of whom even the body functions, the eyes function, the mind functions, the ears function in order to do Shravanam, words are heard, and then the intellect functions to make sense of those words. And so the hands and the legs function. These are all devatas. These are all various manifestations of Ishvara in the form of celestial laws, the laws of the universe, starting with this body-mind-sense complex. And then so therefore nothing belongs to you anyway. Even this body is given. Even the mind is given. The senses are given. You are not the author of anything. This becomes clear when there is the acknowledgement of an author, a being, a conscious being who is in charge of the universe. So without that, if you say I am not karta, dissociation can set in. So in other words, you cannot bypass this Ishvara step. You cannot bypass Ishvara because one lives in a manifest universe. So this has to be acknowledged. And so that acknowledgement leads to what is called the step number 3, leads to prasada buddhi. And I have spoken about this at length in other sections. So I'm just reviewing it now as we are concluding this. Even in this section we have spoken about this. So I'm just reviewing this. So the third step is what is called buddhi yoga or prasada buddhi. Cultivating an attitude of acceptance for those things that cannot be altered. If you can alter, please alter, really. For the things that you cannot alter, take them to the altar of surrender, which alters you, not the outcomes of the things. That's why it's called altar, because that alone has the power to alter your view of how to look at yourself and the things that bother you. So this is Ishvararpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi. Two components of Ishvararpana Buddhi. First is recognizing Ishvara as Karta. Naham Karta, Tvam Karta, you are the Karta. And then second, after that is, if you are the producer of action, then you are also responsible for the results of action. Big thing. And so then that Kartritva Bhoktritva Buddhi, that I am the agent and then I am the recipient of the results of action, that is given to Ishvara. And then given to means what? It already belongs to Ishvara anyway. So, but that is acknowledged. And then after that, one learns to be a mumukshu, jignasu, one cultivates jignasutvam, jignasuta, one cultivates. How does one cultivate that? One cultivates that by understanding that kritena karmana akritam brahma nasti. By understanding and seeing the disconnect. And what is the disconnect? Between action and my desire. So one thinks that desires can be fulfilled by action. This is the feeling, this is the thought. Okay. Feeling is I can fulfill all my desires through my action. In fact, the desires propel me to act. This is the lay understanding. Without Vedanta, this is what is the mass common understanding. But here in this particular step, what one sees is that, this particular strong desire. And what is that strong desire? The only desire is to be free of all desires. Really. Is to be free of being a wanting person. That is what one wants. That's why one keeps on seeking, not in order to be keeping on seeking, but in order to stop seeking. When will I find that seeking which I will no longer be seeking is the desire for every seeker. Nobody wants to be a permanent seeker. Seeker by definition is a temporary state or an identification. Nobody wants to be a permanent seeker. You ask anybody. You go to China and ask in the Mandarin language, do you want to be seeking all the time? They'll say, no, I'm just waiting for something so that I stop seeking. You ask some academic, what is that? You go to some university, academia, I call it academia. So you go there and then you ask some professors who are doing research all the time. What they are, and every book is critiquing the other book that came before that. That is the first half of the new book. That is what it is. To justify the new book, you have to critique somebody else's PhD or somebody else's scholarship. That is how the research functions. That's how you get your promotion from assistant to associate professor. That's how you get tenure. That's how it is. And so you have to critique, you have to justify your own existence. And if you don't publish, you perish. And how can you keep on having new publications? It's simple. You just critique the fellow before you who wrote something and say, no, I disagree, and these are and you quote a whole bunch of other fellows, and this is why I disagree. So, long story short, you go to this, you go to this school of learning, academia, university, and ask some of these professors who are practically living in their offices, surrounded by all kinds of books and computers. Then you say, do you want to keep writing books? Do you want to keep on doing this? In the beginning they may say yes, out of habit they may say yes. But what is the desire? If you sit with them and listen to them long enough for them to get out of this habit, the desire is to find that master key, writing about which will make them famous forever, which will make them fully in the annals of academia hall of fame, and then where they have that not just fame but the satisfaction of having found something, that master key. Same thing physicists. They thought it was this boson God particle, but they named it God particle because it was very difficult to objectify. And then what? Then again they are seeking, one life gone, seeking, another life gone. Like the dog chasing its own tail. Everybody seeking. And the dog never catches the tail, and the seeker never catches that which is the sought, because the sought is simply the manifestation of the seeker itself. Seeker is sought. So how can the seeker seek the sought? Because the seeker is the subject, the sought is not an object. And so how can you objectify the seeker in order to get the sought? So the seeker is the one who is seeking oneself. That is what has to be understood. And so that is the next step. Akritena karmana. Kritena karmana, by actions that are performed, akritam brahma. The actions that are performed can never produce Brahman, that is not a product. That is you. That is infinite. Infinity is not a product. This we have to understand. Infinity is not had by adding 1 plus 1 plus 1 till the cows come home. No. You keep adding 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. It's a finite number still. It may have many figures, many zeros, many numerals, but still it is a finite figure. So how to make that into infinite? You cannot. Then what is this infinity? That for which either the plus or the minus sign in front of it or behind it makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever, has no meaning. Infinity minus 1 still infinity. Infinity plus 1 still infinity. That is, that is basically the understanding of oneself as Brahman, which the vision of Vedanta gives. To this end, the penchant for producing the self, the infinite self that happens to be Brahman, that has to be let go of. In the wake of the knowledge that there is nothing to do, you cannot do Brahman because you are Brahman. And you cannot seek Brahman as an object because you are not an object. You are the truth, the content of that which is called the subject, the only thing that is sentient, that is ever present, that is limitless. And that is what you are. Satchidanandam Brahma. So then that is the next step, to understand that there is a dissonance between the means and the ends. If there is a goal, the means have to subserve that goal. So if the goal is wanting that, after gaining which I stop wanting anything else, that thing that I want cannot be outside of me. Because whatever I seek outside of me is finite. This is Viveka. Anything that I experience is finite. Anything that is an object of experience is very, very finite. And so therefore, whatever I seek is finite. And tasmat, what? then I have to see that whatever is sought, not being outside of myself, the seeking takes on a different flair. I am not in a rush to try to get something outside of myself. So I am now, the seeking is turned into a cognitive pursuit called knowing. So therefore, enter Atma Jnanam. So the pursuit from material objects, events, situations, people, etc., that one needs to constantly manufacture to one's desires is gone in the wake of this understanding that whatever I pursue is finite, and therefore the pursuit has become now a cognitive pursuit. This is the next step. I forget which number we are on, but if you are taking notes, this is you know what number we are on. So this is what is called Purushartha Nishchaya, ascertainment of what I really want. Do you want things in time, or do you want that timeless I which can enjoy all the things in time? Do you want mithya or do you want satyam? If you want mithya, then there will be a constant seeking. If you want satyam, which is really what you want, if you recognize that you want satyam, the satyam not being a product, not being an object, one therefore resorts to Atma Jnanam. Next step. Then after that, what to do for Atma Jnanam? Tadvijnanartham gurumeva abhigachet. Seek a teacher. Catch hold of a teacher. Recently, somebody was asking, why not the teacher seek me? Why should I seek the teacher? Because this is not a college or a high school prom, okay, where somebody chooses you. That desire to be the chosen one itself is in question here. That itself has to be interrogated. And in any monastic tradition, you see that the Shishya goes to the Guru, not the other way around. If any Guru says, come to me, please don't go to them, really. This is what it is. Because this knowledge is given, especially in our lineage, with zero manipulation, really. You don't expect anything from the people who are enjoying the classes or taking the classes or seeking the knowledge. There is no expectation. There is no expectation, even the expectation that the students will understand has to be given up. Yeah, otherwise it will lead to disappointment. And so, maybe there is some expectation, okay, I should make sense and let's see how to talk so that it touches the heart. Maybe that much is there, but then you let go of that. How is it understood? Namaha. How many people are understanding it? Namaha. How many people should be understanding it? Om Namaha. That also is given. Much less there is, even at that level, the subtle manipulation is not there. What to talk of? Oh, you have to come to me and only through studying with me you will get this. All the other gurus, what about them? Oh, they are all idiots. Maybe not overtly said, but somehow subtly, on a very subliminal level, communicated. All that is not there. One just talks, it's like a desert rose. Vedanta is like a desert rose. When it comes through a teacher, what happens? What should it do? It should just give the fragrance all over. But the desert rose must be very unfulfilled because hardly any people in the desert, doesn't matter. Still, it gives the fragrance without really thinking. The rose gives the fragrance without thinking, what am I doing here? That too, rose every day. I'm giving the fragrance, and no, not many people are there to enjoy it. Just a few people who live here, some camel tenders, and a few people, trekkers and tourists and people curious about the desert. Only they come. This is not what the rose thinks. This is exactly how the dissemination of Vedanta is. That's why it says, go to the teacher who is a Shrotriya and a Brahmanishtha. Shrotriya means they've learnt the ways of how to teach. They have gained the pedagogy from their teacher. And then Brahmanishtha means that they have their own life. They are not interested in trying to manipulate you. They have a commitment to Brahman. They are busy and happily living a life that is in keeping with this knowledge, or attempting to live a life in keeping with this knowledge, and so that they have their own things going on. Their main agenda is not to try to manipulate you or keep you glued or make you guilty. All these things is not there. So that's the next step. Go to the teacher, and then after that what? Pursue the knowledge to the best of your capacity. Next step, because this has to be told. Otherwise people think the teacher should be in a showcase. Like some kind of a show and tell. In fact, one person came to one of my lectures in Eugene long back. One of the talks he attended. And then what happened? After he attended the talks, he came and he said, "Can I come and have a meeting with you?" I said, "Okay." And throughout the talk, he was very restless. I could see that. Looking here, looking there, looking out of the window, going out and coming in 2-3 times. And so I thought, okay, must be a very busy man, something going on. I didn't, know anything about him to come to any conclusions. So then he came and he met me, and then, he brought his wife also, and then, some pleasantries were exchanged. And then he said, "I have decided I would like you to be my guru." And I just said, "Why? What for?" Or something like that. Why? Why do you want this? And then he said, because he said, "I have asked this question of all the people that I have met." So I met this some Shankaracharya, and then I asked and he said yes. And then I met this Mataji and she said yes. And then I met this other not talking Baba and he wrote yes on the slate. And then I met another hugging Amma, she said yes. And then I said, "Why do you need so many gurus?" He said, "I just like to showcase them." These are his words. "I like to keep them in the showcase. I want to know I have conquered this guru also. This guru is also my guru. This guru is also my guru." So this gives a new meaning to getting rid of mamakara. So this mamata. And so this was very interesting. And so then this is how that is why this next step has to be talked about. Don't just have the guru. Let yourself be had by the guru, in the sense that let yourself be taken by this knowledge. Let the knowledge operate upon you. Let the knowledge be there, front and center in your life. People think that having a guru is like having 911 on speed dial. Like in an emergency, I can just go and the guru will somehow help. This is something, that is there in the pervasive in the Indian imagination especially. But that's not what the guru is for. The guru is different from a life coach. Life coach means that is what you have on speed dial. And then, the person, these celebrities have life coaches. I met one life coach actually. And so I was very curious. I asked him, "What do you do?" And these celebrities, they pay a monthly fee, like a retainer, thousands of dollars. Monthly fee is not like $25, $19.99 per month, okay? Yeah. thousands of dollars you pay so that you can have access day or night. The celebrity can call and say, I am having a wardrobe malfunction and I am overwhelmed and I am upset, what to do? And the life coach will say, do you have a paper bag? No. Well, I told you to keep a paper bag handy. Oh, yeah, I have it here. Okay, breathe into the paper bag. Little bit of carbon dioxide reduces the anxiety, they say. So breathe into the paper bag 4-5 times. Okay, I'm coming down. What to do? Okay, look at the wardrobe. What is the place you have to go to? Well, I have to attend this breakfast meeting. All right. Some kind of light colors. What is the weather like? And all these things. So the person will walk them hand in hand and get them out of the door. So that wardrobe malfunction or some kind of wardrobe confusion. This is all the job of the life coach. What to say? This one is upsetting me. I'm having a panic attack at a party. And the life coach will say, leave the party. Oh, so simple. Okay, thank you. This is what it is. Slowly make your excuses and leave the party. Simple. If you're having a panic attack in the party, don't be there. So the guru is not life coach. The guru is live coach, okay, which coaches live goals of the knowledge the teacher handles and communicates that just as it was taught to her or him. That is what it is. And so therefore neither the guru is a showcase to be kept in a showcase and taken out and dusted once in a while, nor is the guru some kind of a coach for emergency situations. And in fact, in samsara, every day is an emergency situation. Every day is an emergency situation. All you have to do is to be born, and that is it. Sometimes the birth itself is an emergency situation. That's why emergency, C-section, and everything is an emergency. And so therefore this this transformation it happens with the gentle loving glance of Mother Shruti. When you expose yourself to the teachings, then this transformation of committing oneself to the teaching happens slowly. And then the next step, we can't even say next step, the simultaneous step, but next in the list is to let go of raga dvesha. Because all the raga dveshas were the ingredients of all the pursuits. So to taming of the raga dveshas, maybe one is not able to let go at first, but one can certainly tame it slowly one by one. And so to let go of the raga dvesha is the next step. How to do that? Because now the pursuits are fewer. I'm dropping the pursuits, but the raga and dvesha prevail. What should I do? How should I overcome this? What should I do? So therefore what? So therefore the idea is to focus so much on the knowledge, and so that all of one's actions are subserving the pursuit of knowledge. What does that mean? That means that I understand that I cannot be without action. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarmakrit. Lord Krishna says in the 3rd chapter, one cannot be without doing any action even for a second. So therefore, how to understand I am akarta, I am not the doer, when I cannot be free of actions, supposedly. So therefore, the formula that is given, this is part and parcel of Karma Yoga, is to understand that anything I do is not for the sake of results, but for the sake of self-growth. Self-growth is the only expectation of result. And so therefore what? So whatever I do then cannot go wrong, because even if it goes wrong, at least I will get self growth, because I will do some self inquiry. And even if it goes wrong, supposedly in the empirical situation, it doesn't bother me, because every mistake is a rung, is a step on the ladder of self growth. Every mistake is just a missed take, and then I go back and then I grow as a result. So that's why all the things, all the pursuits are not immediately given up. So there is artha, security, kama, dharma. Artha, kama pursuits are keeping on, one keeps on going with that, because one is unable to drop all of that at once. But the artha and kama pursuits are, purified of the pressure created by the raga and dveshas. That is how the artha kama pursuits are purified. Very, very important. And this is the self-purification which leads one to, makes one ready for the knowledge. And so how are artha kama pursuits purified? Anything that one pursues is for the sake of self-growth. So all the institutions, so any kind of degree for the sake of self-growth, any marriage definitely for the sake of self-growth, definitely. And because it gives an opportunity to adjust to so many egos, married life, family life. And that is how it is in the Hindu tradition, because it is not meant for, it is not an end in itself. Marriage is a means to an end. Because of this union, one is able to grow. That is how it is. And in the Indian marriage, you marry the entire clan, not just the spouse that you are getting married to. So many egos. You marry the whole village. And you have to adjust to everybody, not just women, men also. At least theoretically. They are supposed to do this. And this is very clear in the marriage vows. The final vow is Sakhya Bhava. Sakhya Bhava means I am going to be a friend to you. You are my equal. And your family is my family. I will take care of them. Each one says. Each one says this. So therefore the marriage is for the sake of self-growth. And therefore it's an institution where it is not so much about trying to make sure that the person that one is committed to, a partner or a spouse, makes them happy. That is not the idea. The idea is, in the Hindu tradition, a successful marriage is that which is outgrown. You outgrow the need for that institution. That is a successful marriage. And you see this among Indian grandmas and grandpas. They don't say, oh, we need to spend more time together. And nobody says that. And even if they don't get along at all, it's fine. They have learned to live in a certain kind of a harmony and not depend on one another for their needs. That is what it is. And so the marriage it's very beautiful. It can be very beautiful if we understand its significance. In the marriage ceremony, we have one small ritual called Kashi Yatra, where right in the middle, before the marriage is solemnized, the groom suddenly is made to say, because he doesn't know this is just inherited through the generations. The groom is made to say, I don't want to get married, I am going off to Kashi. This is called Kashi Yatra. And one time when I was small, I had attended somebody's wedding, and then some relatives, and then there the groom said, "But I want to get married. Why are you making me say I don't want to get married? I don't really want to go to Kashi." And the elder said, "Shut up. Do as you're told. Repeat this mantra. I don't want to get married. I'm going to Kashi." I never understood this as a child. And then after that, much less did I understand the next part that was coming, that the parents of the bride and the relatives of the bride ran after this fellow who said, "I don't want to get married," who says, "I'm going to Kashi." And then they gave him gifts. Gave him a watch, gave him dhotis, gave him shirt, and gave him, put an umbrella on his head, some kind of a ceremonial umbrella, that too, and gave him chappals, slippers, and said some mantras. And then I said, "This is not fair. What is this? He just gets to say, 'I'm going to Kashi.' What is this? He's not making up his mind. What kind of a ritual is this?" Later on, I understood the significance of this, because if you don't understand the mantras, this seems like such a patriarchal ritual. And what is this? How can you just go against your commitment and take off? But this has got a lot of spiritual significance. Kashi symbolizes moksha because it's in the north. North is the direction of moksha. That is why Lord Dakshinamurti faces south, so that you can face north when you are facing him. So you are bound for moksha, and this young man says, "You know what? I have developed vairagya." And so what is this? I have developed vairagya. How have you developed vairagya? I have understood that the culmination of all my desires lies in moksha. So of what use is this marriage when really I am headed there? That's the idea. That is what the young groom is made to say, is made to recognize that he is moksha bound, not samsara bound, moksha bound. And as I said, in this particular wedding, the groom said it very unwillingly, but he was forced to say it. He was forced to say it. And then, of course, he got assurances from his parents. This is just for that, right? You're not really cancelling the wedding, right? Right. Just say it. So he's made to say this. He's made cognizant of the fact that his sights lie elsewhere. He may be getting married, but he is bound for moksha, not bound by this marriage. And then why do the parents of the bride and the relatives of the bride try to propitiate him and bring him back to the wedding? But this is something which is very sweet. Because the mantras say that please, we are not stopped. They don't say don't go to Kashi. That's very, very interesting. They say please go to Kashi along with our daughter who you have chosen to take as your partner. Because you know what? We know our daughter, she is also bound for moksha. What do you think? What do you mean? That only you are bound for moksha? She also wants the same thing that you want. Can't she want the same thing that you want? She also wants that. If moksha is your destiny, it's her destiny too. So therefore, you can go together. You have our blessings to go together. And then that is what the Hindu marriage ceremony is, where both of them grow towards or go towards moksha. That is what it is. It is a union for the sake of this goal. That is what it is. And so therefore, in the marriage, one is not trying to perform the marriage, meaning one is not trying to every day try to see how the other person is going to help me, how the other person is going to be there for me. That is not the main focus in the Hindu marriage. In the Hindu marriage, how can I grow? And so one of the ways is to let the other person win the argument. When? All the time. Oh no, that's terrible. I will be stepped upon. You will not be stepped upon. In fact, it's a win-win situation. It's a win-win situation because the spouse is very pleasantly surprised that this argumentative person is saying, oh yes, 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 you can have your way, you are right. This is wonderful. So that is one win. The second win is when you say yes, yes, yes to all the things that do not matter, then what happens? You are freed of the burden of trying to change things that cannot be changed. And you have already grown as a result. You have grown as a result. It's a win-win situation. And the third win is the spouse very quickly makes the connection between you attending Vedanta classes and you letting them win the arguments. And then they say, go to this retreat. I think you need this. Attend more classes. So this is the third win. It's a win-win situation. Negotiating the marriage is always a win-win situation. Of course, I'm not talking about situations where it's an abusive scenario. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about small skirmishes and ego clashes. That is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about sustained physical or emotional abuse. If that is the case, please get out of that situation. So that is not what we are talking about. We are talking about, everyday neuroses, not psychoses, okay? So we are talking of everyday neuroses, ego clashes, and these kinds of adjustment difficulties. That is what we are discussing. So that is then the raga dveshas are tamed, and then one becomes ready for this knowledge. And then here it says, excuse me. So hute ahuti chet ete sarvam etad hutam bhavet. So once this ahuti is offered, then these ahutis of I-ness and my-ness are offered. Then you have made it. Then what happens? Shraddha Patni Sametanam. Along with the spouse called Shraddha, you are living in a house called Mumuksha, the desire for moksha. Mumuksha Grihavasinam. So you see, in India and maybe some other cultures, we have the custom of naming the house. So if you walk on the road, then even apartment buildings and houses have names. Then so many names are there. Shiva Apartments, Ram Nivas, like this, so many names are there, and then they are named after Bhagavan. So many things are there. And so this person that we are talking about, this Jignasu, is living in a house whose name is the desire for freedom, Mumuksha. Nice name for a house. Okay, so Mumuksha is the name of this house. And then who is living there? The Yajamana, yourself. Who is this you? The one who is Satyam oriented and the one who is given to this knowledge of Sat. And then who is your consort? Shraddha. This is the family that is living there. But what about the kids? No problem. They can have up to 6 children. Shama, Dama, Uparati, Shraddha. They 5. Titiksha, Samadhanam, all that they can have. Yeah, they can have, children in the form of a resolved mind is one offspring of this union between Shraddha and the commitment to this truth. All these things. They can have all kinds of, this can be the family. This can be the whole family. And so then what else? So this is they are living in this house called Moksha. This is the result of Karma Yoga, poised for knowledge. And then he concludes in an interesting way. Let us look at the next verse, 15. Agnihotramidam nityam akritya pratyavaiti yat. Agnihotramidam nityam akritya pratyavaiti yat. Inabo muho manga sahita homa nirnayah. Inabo muho manga sahita homa nirnayah. He's got all modern honors here, very interesting. This is called mudra, or leaving a little mark. And this is there in the, these initials. The initials stand for, E stands for iti. In the second line, let's take the second line first. E, iti. Then na, narahari. Who is Narahari? Huh? Quick. Who is Narahari?
The author.
The author of Bodhasara himself. E for iti, Narahari. And then what is Bo stands for?
Bodhasara.
Bodhasara. Very good. And then Mu stands for this particular section called Munindra Dinacharya. Inabomu. Inabomu is this whole section, Munindra Dinacharya. This section is dedicated, he says, this itself is an offering. This itself is an oblation. This is the part of this ritual that we are talking about. This itself is an offering, on the oblation and the other angas, the other components. This is what is my offering, he says. This is called some kind of a mudra, meaning like, you find this in some musicians also. There will be a kind of a little refrain at the end, and oh, this is a composition by such and such a person. They will have a few words, or they may have their own name, like Appaya Dikshitar. He will put his own name. In the Margabandhu Stotram, Appaya Yajvendra Geetam, he signs it off. So here also he is signing it off with this Inabomu, these initials, and this particular author with this particular section, in this particular section of this treatise called Bodhasara, where this where this section itself is an offering to your self-growth. Very beautiful. This itself is a part of the Homa to your self-growth. And then he mentions one more thing in the first line. And what is that first line? Agnihotram idam. This kind of a fire ritual, which we have described at length, which is burning the ragadveshas in the fire of knowledge, etc., etc., getting ready for the knowledge, all these things, reducing ragadveshas, the hold of the ragadveshas, all these things. Nityam, Agnihotram Nityam. Agnihotra means it has to be done every day. Akritya means not doing this. Pratyavaiti means falls off, gets derailed. Pratyavaiti. There is one kind of a papa that one incurs. So it is called Pratyavaya dosha or Pratyavaya papa. Very specific kind of papa. What is this Pratyavaya papa? Very interesting. So you are supposed to do, as a householder, you are supposed to do some Nitya Karma. Nitya Karma, let's say, a very simple example of Nitya Karma to be done every day includes daily puja. So you light a lamp, you ring a bell, you offer some water or some dry fruits, whatever, simple puja. So this is called Nitya. This is one example of Nitya Karma. Let's say you were in a hurry one day and then you didn't do it. You rushed out of the door, forgot all about it, and as you were attacking your lunch at work, then you said, oh no, I forgot to feed Bhagavan at home. Oh no, how could I have done this? And then, so then, what's his name? Chitragupta, the Lord in the form of the one who keeps account of karma, puts one cross. And that cross means it's a particular kind of a papa called Pratyavaya, a papa of omission. Notice that I'm not translating papa as sin. In fact, there is no sin in the Hindu tradition other than the sin of translating papa as sin. Okay? No other sin. We don't have the feeling that one is a sinner, so papa is not sin. It's omissions and commissions that are go contrary to dharma. That's what it is. So this particular papa is a papa of omission. How is it a papa of omission? Because you were supposed to do something and you did not do this. So then that means if I'm a good boy or if I'm a good girl and do the nitya karma regularly, then I get punya? No. Akarane pratyavaya. Very interesting. You don't get gold stars for brushing your teeth every day, which is another example of nitya karma. Maybe as a child, the parents, in order to make the child have good habits, would say, okay, I'll give you this. I'll put a gold star on your name and you can get more gold stars than your sibling. But that is not how this pratyavaya works. So if you brush your teeth every day, you're not going to get punya. You will have friends in your life for sure because they will not be afraid of coming close to you. That is good. But then if you don't brush your teeth, then it will have unpleasant effects. So this is what is this. So this is the example, of pratyavaya. This is just to exemplify, to illustrate pratyavaya dosha. Pratyavaya dosha. And then, so this akarane pratyavaya. So he signs off with a warning. Everything that I have said is this Agnihotra section, this fire ritual section, all the things that we have talked about, and reducing raga dveshas, increasing compassion, practicing in these ways, all this is for the sake of self-growth is a must. It is as good as nitya karma because I have taken the pains to symbolically put it in the form or through the template of nitya karma. And if you don't do this, what will happen? You will be incurring an offense of omission. Yeah. This is basically this is what it is. And so this is a good place to stop because we are not going to have we are going to take a little break because I have some travel coming up. And so let's see. Let me look at the calendar so that I can tell you when the next class will meet. Okay, so we can see that it will be in the month of March, which is the reason why we had back-to-back classes. Thank you for participating. And so let's see. So the next class will be on March 13th of March. Okay, no. Saturday, right? Yeah. So 12th of March. 12th of March will be the next class. All right. So this Bodhasara class, and then we will put it up on the website. And let me type the website address for everybody, so that you can please check there for all the other classes also. All right. Yeah. So we can do that. And then there is a question here. Explain the difference between Ishvararpana buddhi, prasada buddhi, naham karta, Ishvara karta. Yeah, it's all just in that same ballpark. So, Ishvararpana buddhi means you are invoking Ishvara as the karta. All right. And then prasada buddhi means you are acknowledging Ishvara as the giver of the results of action. You see, there is a slight difference. So the first one, Ishvararpana buddhya karma kuru. So you do this with the feeling that Ishvara is the karta, with the notion that Ishvara is the karta. So from that conviction that Ishvara is the karta, then prasada buddhya karma phalani svikuru. So accept the karma phala with the idea that whatever comes is a gift, is a prasada, with a attitude of glad acceptance. And then what else? Naham karta. So Naham Karta is a culmination of this practice and the exposure to Vedanta Shastra. And Ishvara Karta, yeah, that's what it is. So first we say Ishvara is the Karta, and then you understand with the help of knowledge that you are yourself that Ishvara which you are seeking. And then so you can say, I have done everything, or you can say, I have done nothing. It's all the same at that level, okay? Because the I is sublated. The I is no longer, I is already offered into the fire of knowledge. It is no longer a separate I that complains and that feels left out, etc., etc. It's not an I with all kinds of samsaric problems, okay? Yeah, all right. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ थैंक यू